Well, good morning and welcome to this Thursday Thought, except that I'm publishing this on Saturday. A few evenings ago, the weather was cloudy with a good chance of rain and some wind. I was watching the weather report on the late news. The weather person said there that there was a gust front of wind just to the west of Wichita, and it was moving into the metro area, and just behind that gust front was a thunderstorm that was also moving in. Well, rather than staying inside while the wind and rain came in, I went outside to experience that change in wind direction, wind speed, and the temperature as the gust front moved through. Well, I didn't have long to wait. The wind went calm for just a few seconds, then began picking up steam from a different direction, gradually increasing in speed. The temperature fell several degrees and the smell of the air was noticeably different. It smelled like a rain shower. And even though it was dark, I could see some very low-level clouds go by in the reflected city light. The lightning soon came along with the thunder and then the first of the raindrops. Well, I went back inside and I let the storm come on through. I don't know if you've ever done something like that. I like to be outside and watch those kinds of weather changes come along. There's just something about being out in the weather when a change comes that makes me grateful to be alive and to experience that, and also to have a place to go when the bad weather does come. One of the more recent autumns, the air had been muggy, warm, sticky for days. We were well into October, I think, but we'd not had any real push of cooler air from the north to drive out that sticky, muggy air from the south. I'd heard on the weather report one evening that a cold front was coming through and was just about to the Wichita area. Well, the front was supposed to bring much cooler temperatures, much less humidity, and the promise of colder weather ahead. So I went outside and I just waited for the front to show up at our house. Well, I didn't have to wait long. The wind from the south slowed down rapidly, became calm for about 20 seconds. And then the first whiffs of the cooler air came to me along with a change in wind direction. For a few seconds, that muggy, humid air mixed with the cooler air, but eventually the cool air won out, and I knew that the warm, muggy days of that autumn were over, probably for the next several months. I noticed a real internal sense of change in my mind also, knowing that it would no longer be as it had been for so long, that winter was indeed coming. Well, the weather's always been something that I've enjoyed keeping up with and learning about. Even the uncomfortable hot and cold weather, the snowy, icy, rainy weather, the wind, the hail, and yes, even the severe weather. It's just something that I've done over the years and probably will continue to do until I no longer can. But there's a little more to this than just enjoying keeping up with the weather. Weather often reminds me of things spiritual. No, I don't believe the weather itself is some kind of a god or spiritual entity, but I do believe that the God of the universe created the weather especially for the earth, that what happens is intentional and ultimately for the good of the creation. I believe that God can and sometimes does intervene in weather situations, often, I think, in response to the fervent prayers of righteous people. Observing and learning about the weather, especially on a part of the earth known for extremes like here in the plains, is often for me an exercise in worship and thanksgiving, gratefulness and praise. I see the power of a thunderstorm and the lightning and the wind, or the results of a badly needed rain in the growth of plants and the cleansing of the environment. I marvel at times at how even weather phenomena such as hurricanes actually help preserve the environment. As I understand it, among other things, those hurricanes move heat energy from one place to another, and they cause beneficial rains and other forms of weather that are actually good for the earth as a whole. Yes, they can be destructive when they move over places built up by humans, but they also can and are very beneficial to the environment and the climate of the earth. The weather is just one aspect of the creation that God has beautifully and perfectly put together for His own glory as well as for the benefit of mankind and all the rest of creation. We need to respect the power and destructive potential of the winds and the rains. But we also need to thank God for His provision and care as we watch His handiwork continue to unfold in the clouds, the rains, the winds, and the snows. Well, may God bless you this week as you continue to serve Him.